Hello, how you doing?
Hi, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Heather Hamiliton. I'm 34 years old, and I live in a family shelter located in Harlem.
Okay, so why did you come to FPA Foundation today?
There aren't enough organizations I've found in New York City that are really true advocates going against the system and fighting the powers that be. I've had a really difficult time with ACS and issues regarding having to do with homelessness in the city. And it's been a very difficult time trying to find some true support. I get a helping hand, a lot of shrugs, and a lot of people who understand and show empathy, but not real advocacy. My children were placed into foster care after being I feel like we were targeted for being homeless and poor, and I have a number of issues from my past and trauma that have affected our current situation, which is just stagnant, and it's being held that way by the powers that be, whether it's DHS, the specific shelter system, and ACS, and all these other related bureaucracies that support these larger institutions of oppression.
As a parent dealing with the child welfare system, has the system been supportive to you and your family?
I think superficially, again, the smiles, the nods, and we're here for you. But when it comes to housing and actual subsidies and being placed somewhere that's clean and habitable, that hasn't happened. In fact, the opposite has happened. I'm being faulted for the conditions in my room, and they're trying to associate the shelter conditions somehow with my mental health diagnosis. And it's very difficult to thrive and even survive in these conditions, which have a really negative impact on the health of all of us. And this isn't just my family, it's systemic. It's happening in the single adult shelters, where children are being purposefully kept from their parents, and reunification is being prolonged. And ACS is justifying keeping the families separated because of people being trapped in these shelter systems. So I believe they're all related, and there's a lot of funny money going on that needs to be looked into, federally, locally, and on the state level.
What message would you like to share with the public advocate and the mayor about your experience as a parent dealing with the child welfare system?
I believe reforms are necessary because we can't just eradicate these systems right now. There are unfortunate problems that happen within families and socially that are not just related to poverty, but sexual abuse and trauma and psychological abuse and oppression. And those are things that we face as people. The powers that be, and Letitia James and other people, I do believe they're concerned and they really do want to help. But when people are in that upper echelon, they have all that education under their belt, it's really easy to pass the buck and subcontract it out to somebody else and say it's not my problem, or it's a poor person's problem, or they have a bad attitude, or a mental health problem that prevents them from getting better. Social services are not serving people, generally. And I do hold out some hope that there are some innovative ideas coming together, but there's also a lot of corruption and people complacent with being sick and wanting more diagnoses, not to get a welfare check, but because it speeds up the process of getting what you need faster. But on paper and legally, you look sicker and more pathetic, and you're more vulnerable and easy to be picked on by the same people claiming to help you.
What message would you like to share with other parents out there that's going through the same experience that you're experiencing now as a parent? What message would you like to share with those parents?
Learn your rights, learn to become more assertive, which is a personal challenge for me, that I can attest to that struggle, and there's potential for growth. You don't have to be in the streets protesting and railing against stuff to get your message across. There are many different methods. And it's a process that it comes naturally when you feel supported. And I think that FPA provides the foundation, pardon the pun, to do that. But there's safety in numbers, and when you get 4 to a dozen people together, it makes a world of difference. So I would like to integrate the activism with reforms that could happen within ACS and their sub-agencies, but I think that we need to learn the laws and know our rights and start with the basics there, because since these organizations were formed, it all has to do with how the country was settled and colonialism and genocide, and this stuff is continued today, and it's much more complex and layered in a postmodern world that we are all struggling in together, and it crosses race, class, sex. We're all touched by these things whether we know it or not.
Is there any other messages or anything else that you want to share?
Just keep fighting, and it gets easier. It's less of a fight. The education comes with the learning process, and I encourage people to do that, because you can't just break a system. You have to chip away at it, and you have to look internally on how you're participating in these systems in order to extricate yourself and your family and keep your family safe and together, even if that's a foster family or an adoption, because that is a reality.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.